right when we were about to publish this video, we got news that Michigan football legend, a part of every home game at the Michigan Stadium for quite a number of years, James Earl Jones, 1955 graduate of the University of Michigan, legendary actor, has died at the age of 93. Glad he got to live long enough, right? Live a life full, and was able to see Michigan win one more national championship last year, and got to make two more introductory videos to this 2024 season as national champions before he passed away, obviously last week against Fresno State, and then the final game before the team ran out and touched the banner on Saturday against Texas. Game days won't be the same in Michigan Stadium without James Earl Jones' legendary booming voice introducing this football program and getting the team riled up to go win some big ball games. So rest in peace to Michigan football voice and University of Michigan 1955 graduate James Earl Jones. We have a quick whoosh whoosh here, and then the previously recorded show that we filmed about 30 minutes ago or so. So I didn't know about the passing then, so you have to forgive me for the excitement or lack of it in my voice as you watch today's Michigan Football Report. Got a lot of things to say on today's Michigan Football Report. It's now over 48 hours since Michigan got just dismantled at home. Defending national champions Texas came in and made Michigan look like Oregon did back in 2007, maybe even like Syracuse and Donovan McNabb did in 1998, a non-traditional opponent coming in and is showing Michigan how they play football. So going to just give you all the things I've been thinking about for 2 straight days on today's show. But did want to ask you guys to subscribe to the channel. In 2022 and 2023, we were the most consumed Michigan football program. I'm talking about radio, television, YouTube, podcasts, on any platform throughout the entire year. And although Michigan lost just this one game, of course, we want to keep our winning ways here on the Michigan Football Report. So subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and at all times, share with your friends, youtube.com/Michigan TV. It's Overreaction Monday, right? So I'm going to take the things that I saw most frequently from the media, from the fan bases, from rivals fans. It's their overreactions, it's your overreactions, and give you my thoughts on them and just thoughts on just this program in general, as this team has now fallen to 1-1 coming off of the 2023 National Championship. It is the Michigan Football Report. We got Young Harbaugh. We got James Yoder. Let's go. We're going to have 5 overreactions for you. The first one is basically what everyone was saying in the stadium. Everyone saw saying on social media, people I've talked to, people at work, Jack and me, when we finally connected today to talk about this game, is we've got some problems. This program has problems. As you see there, like just my notes there, they looked overmatched. They looked outworked. They looked outcoached, out-schemed, and it reminiscent of the early Harbaugh Ohio State. Maybe games is not the exact one, but pre-2021, some of the games, right? 2015, that absolute blowout where Ohio State could do no wrong. 2018, 2019, where it was like, we can't do anything to stop these guys. And our offensive game plan is just, after 2 drives or so, is just completely thrown out the window, and this team has no identity. First thing that's kind of irking me is the Alex Orji experiment, right? I think they probably said it on the broadcast. They probably said it, everyone's saying it on social media, but everyone in the stadium, right? I was at the game, 112,000 strong. Everyone at the stadium saw Orji come in, especially on 3rd down. Like, what are we doing? Jack, you had some thoughts on this on social media on Saturday.
This was the thing that made me the most frustrated. I literally tweeted after that 3rd down play in all caps, every time Alex Orji walks on the field, it's a run. Texas knows this. What are we doing? That was just the most mind-boggling, baffling thing that happened on Saturday. If Orji walks on the field, it's going to be a run. Everyone in the stadium knows it. Texas knows it. You got to mix it up, and they just didn't do that.
And not just a run, but a run to Orji. It's like, I don't even know, is he even handing the ball off? He seems to keep it all these times on these quarterback reads. And the other thing that is kind of interesting, it reminds me of like Jabril Peppers. Like the first few times you put him in the game in 2016, maybe even 2015 a little bit, 2016 mostly, it was like he would break off some nice runs. He would make it happen, etc. But then like as you got later in the season, it's like everyone knew it was just going to be a snap to Peppers. He was going to find the hole and go. And then they just creeped up. They never used him as a diversion. They never even put him out there as a wide receiver, maybe and threw the ball to him or snapped the ball to somebody else. Or hell, he threw the ball. It never happened. And that's what we're seeing with Orji, right? Outside of that first drive against Fresno State where he threw the ball, it's been the same as it was last year, as it was in 2021. It's Orji in the end zone, etc. And if everyone knows it, and there's no reason to say like, oh, they're setting it up for the future, or they're going to trick somebody down the line. It was in the biggest game this program has had, out of conference in the month of September. I mean, in decades, right? In decades. And Michigan just completely was outcoached, outmanned, and I think looked like absolute crap on Saturday. Give me your one-word reaction. Just go down and give me one word in the comments. I'll make this the pinned comment beneath the video, so reply to that one if you can, so we can kind of aggregate the one-word reaction. Mine is just, I'm trying to think. I ask these questions, and I'm like, what is my one-word reaction? Frankly, it's embarrassing. It was kind of embarrassing to the point where people were laughing. The stadium was cheering when Michigan actually scored a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and it kind of looked like a joke. Give me your one-word reaction down in the comments. Sherrone Moore, I still don't know if we know what kind of coach he is, right? He doesn't have an identity, it doesn't seem to me, as a head coach with his coaching staff, 2 new coordinators. I don't know what the identity of this team is, and it didn't seem like they were very well prepared because they had some good defensive plays early on against Texas, but when it came to third down, especially on that first drive, this defense was absolutely lost. Let's go over the third downs on their first drive of the game, right? 3rd and 13 from their own 21, 33-yard pass on 3rd and 13. Come on, guys. Next up, a few plays later, 3rd and 5. It's into Michigan territory, right? Michigan 41, 3rd and 5, 7-yard pass. Then few plays after that, right? Michigan's getting stops on first down. Stops, maybe giving up a yard 2 here and there on second down. 3rd and 7 at the Michigan 31, 8-yard scramble from Quinn Ewers. And then a few plays later, 3rd and 11 from the Michigan 24. If you kind of see those, they all kind of add up, right? Add 33, you're at the 41-yard line. Add 7, you're at the, need to get to the 31-yard line. And then you're at the 24-yard line. And what happens? Quinn Ewers scrambles out of the pocket. Receivers just kind of move around the back of the end zone. He hits for the touchdown. Ultimately, that was called back, luckily, for a holding, but that was kind of signs of things to come because the other touchdowns really and drives really were very similar to what they did on that one. And frankly, had that not been called back for holding and then, they missed a subsequent field goal, I mean, this game really could have got out of hand, right? This could have been a 50-point performance from Texas. And Michigan's kind of lucky that Texas just said, hey, we know Michigan's not going to score on us at all, and that we basically have to do nothing in the second half to get out of here with a victory. Guys, make sure you subscribe to the channel. As we said at the top of the screen, we are trying to go for our 3rd straight year as the #1 program covering this team. No spin, no BS. We're always going to give it to you straight, even if it goes in the face of fanhood and expectations and what we're looking for just from enjoying this team play. Subscribe at youtube.com/MichiganTV. This team has an inability to run the football, right? Saw that everywhere. It's not obvious to everyone. It's an overreaction, but it's an apt reaction, right? Under 250 yards in 2 games. They're completely abandoning the running attack for big stretches of the game. You're getting second and medium, 3rd and long so frequently. You've got to abandon that. And the two-headed running back monster that Michigan fans were expecting to be thunder and lightning and no major drop-off, et cetera, et cetera. It's been, frankly, a disaster, right? Donovan Edwards is being mocked by fellow fans, but he only had 68 yards through 2 games. And Kalel Mullings has had a better performance, a better showing. He seems to run a little bit harder, gets the most of his runs, but still 117 yards in those 2 games. Nothing is a standout performance by any means. 8 carries for 41 yards against Texas. And I was encouraged early on with Edwards that they were giving him opportunities to be split out wide, or there was a couple times where Mullings and Edwards were in the backfield together throughout this game, but they never did anything with it, right? They never passed the ball downfield to Edwards. He never, did anything creative. The runs were just standard Donovan Edwards runs where he did seem to maybe break a couple tackles, right? There's maybe 1 or 2 plays early on where I'm like, oh gosh, he broke off a tackle finally, but this is not the season we expected from him. It's very reminiscent of his season last year, and I don't know if it's totally him to blame, but this offensive line isn't doing him any help. But this is not a guy that is going to be an all-American level player. Don Brown 2.0. I saw a ton of that on social media. I've seen it for the last 2 days, Sunday and Monday. This defense looked lost at times. That third down stuff that we saw, just easily converting, guys streaking across the field, and the stuff in the third quarter that we'll talk about here coming up was just so ugly that it reminded me exactly of Don Brown. Guys, we're going to continue on this. We've got 5 topics to talk about, but I do want to use this opportunity to ask you to use the hashtag Michigan. So hashtag Michigan with your comments and questions. Put them down in the comments, and I'll search for hashtag Michigan on our database, our back end on YouTube, and I will take 6, 7, 8, 9 questions either Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. We'll do a full mailbag show just from questions using hashtag Michigan on this show. So if you want to be on the show later this week, your name, your face, your question, use hashtag Michigan when you leave it down in the comments. How about this play, right? I said to my son, I said, he's gone, right? And my son was like, started cheering because he thought I said, the Don. I'm like, no, not the Don. He's gone. Because for my seats, right, they just put this Ryan Wingo, the freshman I told you about last week, they put him in motion. He got the ball, and then the Texas lineman just kind of popped outside, and you had 3 Michigan defenders and 4 blockers, receiver, and maybe a tight end and 2 linemen. It's like, he's gone. Luckily, Michigan tracked him down, inside the 20-yard line. I think it was probably down inside the 10. But it was just so obvious. No one was covering him. No one is paying attention that this guy was going in motion. And it was a huge run, 55-yard reverse for the true freshman. A few plays later, right? It's third down again. I was embarrassed by this play, especially in the stadium, right? And talked to Jack about it. He was yelling at his TV. The Texas running back, Jaden Blue, went, he's in the shotgun next to Quinn Ewers to his left. He kind of starts going in motion out to the side to the left, kind of a little strict like this. And not a single person from Michigan's defense moved. They were all basically inside the tackle boxes, inside the hash marks. And this guy goes, Quinn Ewers is like, wait, are you got to be kidding me? No one's even going to go over there? Just catches the ball, just tosses over there. And a Michigan defender or two eventually caught up to him right at the goal line and at least made a play of it. But it was embarrassing and showed that this team, this coaching staff, these players were completely unprepared for the offense that this Texas football team was going to throw at them. And it showed in the final score. Guys, national championship was back on January 8th. Jack and I went. We used Gametime. I also used Gametime to bring a few extra friends and family members to Michigan, Texas. Now, it might be money not well spent, but we still had a good time spending it as family. There's wife, sister, my son, Preston. Here are our seats. Thanks to Gametime. We've got season tickets as a family as well, but there were much more of us going to the game than we had season tickets. We used Gametime. We saw the tickets we were going to sit in from the Gametime app, and Gametime has a new feature, guys, called Gametime Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Gametime Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices so you know the exact price you're going to pay, views from your seat like I mentioned, and their lowest price guarantee, Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets to events. Michigan football season is here. We've got a game, 5 straight home games to start the year. You got Arkansas State coming up this week. 2-ticket check. Am I right? 2 tickets in the end zone for $138 all in. Now, 2 weeks from now, USC, a little pricey, but those are tickets right around the 20, 25-yard line, $694 all in pricing for 2 people to get in to watch Michigan against USC. With Gametime, you've got last-minute tickets and flash deals, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account with Gametime and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime. Don Brown 2.0, right? And I mentioned that because there's a few things that just reminded me of what we saw the last few years of Don Brown, right? 2019 Don Brown, 2018 against Ohio State Don Brown, 2020 Don Brown when this just the entire top came off it, right? We show you the third down, right? You can toss this up on screen, Jack, just to remind people. It's when it was always like, wow, great stop, right? Use aggressiveness on first down, second down, stop that run blitz, etc. Third and 8, and you would always be a little too aggressive for the moment, and there'd be something that happened, like a tight end or a back or a slot receiver would just drag across the field. There'd be nobody with him, or the person who was with him was like 4 or 5 yards behind him and couldn't even get with him. And the guy would just catch the ball like 2-3 yards past the line of scrimmage and whoop, screwed up field for 5, 6, 7, 8 extra yards, get the third down they needed. The clocks kept moving, and that's why Michigan was not playing national championship level ball in 2018 and 2019. It's why Ohio State exposed its defense in 2018. Why did it again in 2019? Why Wisconsin ran all over Michigan in 2019? It was not prepared, not having your players recognizing the moment, and the wrong play and maybe too aggressive a play at the exact wrong time. Texas picked on Jyaire Hill, right? Got his second start at cornerback, and it was clear they thought they could throw on him all day long. His PFF grade, you see, 57.2. That is That's terrible. Let me just be frank, right? It's terrible. Not as bad as Davis Warren, we'll talk about here in a second, but that is a bad grade. They basically got a completion almost every time they threw him the ball. They didn't have to, challenge Will Johnson that much, if at all, because Jyaire Hill was just getting picked on left and right, and Texas did not fear what Michigan threw at him on defense whatsoever. Sherrone Moore has been 2 games as Michigan's official head coach, 4 games last year filling in. Give me a grade on what you know and what you've seen out of this team, out of this program. I don't want to get too crazy right now because, again, we're replacing 10 starters on offense, 8 starters replacing on defense, but there's so much returning experienced talent on that defense. And the fact that one of his first decisions as head coach was to not pursue a quarterback in the transfer portal whatsoever, I got to give him a C- right now. And I hope that doesn't last like that for long. But this has been an underwhelming performance from recruiting, which picked up a little bit of the summer, transfer portal, and then identifying the weaknesses of this team and being prepared to beat Texas. Give me a grade down in the comments. Number 4, quarterback play. I mean, all right. Michigan, 83 yards of offense, 2 turnovers in the first half. Davis Warren interception, bad throw, and then the Colston Loveland play, which was the backbreaker, right? That was the backbreaker. Caught the ball, and then he fumbled. And did they even review the play, Jack, on TV? I don't know. In the stadium, it was like, oh, they're going to review this. They're going to review this. And I was like, nope, they did not review Colston Loveland's fumble. And that was the backbreaker, the game ender, because it was 17-3. And you're like, I was thinking to myself, right before Michigan got the ball, I was like, okay, maybe you could do something here, right? And look, hey, they got that completion to Colston Loveland. It looked like they could do something here. Let's say Michigan gets any points there. That's a bonus. But if not, it's 17-3. You've played as bad of a half as you can possibly imagine going into halftime. But what happens? You fumble on your side of the field. Texas then has a short field that they have to go to score a touchdown. Instead of 17-3 or 17-6, or hell, maybe even a best-case scenario, Michigan scored a touchdown on that drive, which probably not, 17-10. But it was a 2-score game at max, and it could have even been less than that. And alas, it went from 17-3 or 17-6 to 24-3. And with how Michigan was playing, that was all she wrote. Now, Loveland's had a decent, start to the season, but he's had a few drops now, right? That's at least 2 or 3 drops I've seen him have, and this fumble, which was brutal. And there was another play later in the game, Jack, that got overturned. Who was it that fumbled that one? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Michigan got the ball. They called it a fumble. And I just can't remember because I was just at my wit's end at that point. And they reviewed it. I think it was actually it might have been Fred Moore or one of the wide receivers. It was not Colston Loveland, but he's had 16 catches through 2 games. So he's playing up to All-American level status. And that's really all you could ask out of a tight end, right? In this offense, catching passes from Davis Warren. The wide receivers, though, on this team, they are not good, right? I want to say they stink because they're still young men and they've got a lot of opportunities to grow and not a ton of playing time outside of, I guess, Tyler Morris and Samaj Morgan, but Morris the only returning starter, if you even call him a starter, which he's the 3rd wide receiver last year. But Samaj Morgan basically did all of his work in the second half in the 4th quarter. There was some bad routes being run. These guys couldn't get any separation. They couldn't get open. And when you're in the game, you get such a different view of things. Like you can see the wide receiver routes and who's covering. It was like there's nobody open, right? So even when Davis Warren could make good throws, he half the time didn't have any single person to throw to, whether it's a coaching situation, whether it's the wide receivers are just that bad compared to the Texas defensive backs. We're going to find out as the season goes along, but too many drops. Fumbles from Colston Loveland, another fumble from wide receiver that was overturned by replay. It's everything that you needed to do to win this game you didn't do, and frankly, in a lot of ways, you did the exact opposite of it. This wide receiver looks slow. The group, they look slow. They don't look like they have any playmakers. There's not a single wide receiver one on this roster, at least not right now. And where are other guys? Right? Where's Amarian Walker, right? He came back to be a wide receiver. He's not good enough to even get snaps in 2 straight weeks. It kind of just shows with Davis Warren playing how he's playing. Alex Orji not getting any real snaps at quarterback. Sherrone Moore said today, is he going to get any snaps at quarterback, some real snaps like as QB1, et cetera? And he's like, he's got to prove it in practice. Well, if he hasn't proven it yet with what we've seen with Davis Warren, that spells some bad times coming forward for Michigan. Now let's go back to April. Coming out, I get in January, right? Michigan didn't know who their head coach was. Jim Harbaugh was obviously going to pursue NFL jobs and see what happened there. They didn't get it done with a contract. By the way, Jack, I got a picture. I'll show it to you guys on Tuesday or Wednesday. A picture of Ward Manuel coming out of the tunnel, maybe 15 minutes before kickoff, not wearing a single thing of maize, right? Got a blue blazer on, a white shirt, not wearing any maize. I'm like, this guy just does not get it. But Michigan didn't pursue a quarterback in the spring. And I think that's just coaching malpractice by Sherrone Moore and offensive coordinator Kirk Campbell. Campbell was asked about it the day of Michigan's spring game, why the portal was still open. He says, that's not part of our thought process right now. Roster evaluation is part of the process, but right now that's not something we're looking at. And he continued on, right? He continued on and said, when they followed up in this post spring game press conference, is like, so that means 100% you're not doing it? He's like, you guys heard what I said. Put whatever you want in your articles, but you heard what I said. Meaning that, no, they're happy with the quarterback they had. I just don't know how you can watch J.J. McCarthy play and then say we've got a guy who's good enough to win at Ohio State, to beat Ohio State again, to win the college football playoff. But I digress. We'll continue talking quarterbacks in a second, but did want to remind you guys, season's not over, so you can subscribe to the channel. We'll probably have more analysis and insights this year than we had all of last year, especially the month of September and October, where Michigan was just bulldozing over a really weak schedule the first 7-8 games of the year. Now, going back to Kirk Campbell, right? He said in April they wouldn't pursue a transfer portal, and it just was the wrong decision, right? And it kind of makes me question his quarterback evaluation, right? His talent acumen, that he didn't know that Davis Warren was the best that they had, right, at least for this year, and didn't go pursue Cam Ward or any of the other quarterbacks that may have been there. Right, Ohio State's got 4 or 5 quarterbacks on the roster right now. I'm not saying they would have gotten any of those guys, but that you could at least back channel to say, would you be interested in being Michigan's starting quarterback next year? We've got a walk-on, 5th-year walk-on that's going to get the job, and that is Davis Warren, and they didn't do that, and I think that is a big miss. If you think back to Ohio State's first year with Ryan Day, 2019, they were bringing back a quarterback room almost as bad as Michigan's this year, and definitely as inexperienced. And none of those guys did anything, right? A few of them ended up transferring. Tate Martell was another guy that went to TCU and elsewhere. What did they do? They went out and got Justin Fields, and they convinced the NCAA to let him be eligible early. This is before the transfer portal allow you to just do it automatically. And they end up with Davis Warren, 22 of 33, right? But all this work was done in the fourth quarter, right? His QBR, 47.6 against Texas, 33.8 against Fresno. But right there, I think, is interesting, right? It gives you a little glimpse ahead. Maybe you get a little excited. He looked a lot better. The coaching staff looked a little bit better what they were putting him in position to do against probably a very soft Texas zone. 13 of 17 for 131 and 1 touchdown, no interceptions in the fourth quarter, right? So 131 of his 204 was in the fourth quarter, okay? 22 completions, 13 of them were in the fourth quarter. So nothing happened the first 3 quarters of the game. And I think what we saw on Saturday, this staff is looking incompetent right now from an offensive perspective, from a talent evaluation perspective, and really, I don't think they know what they're doing in the transfer portal if they didn't think they needed to go out and get a quarterback that can compete with Alex Orji and Davis Ward. Looking ahead, this team's got 6 games or more that are absolutely losable games. I thought going into the season, okay, there's floors, 8 wins, right? They're going to win 8 games for sure, and there's 4 games that you want to win them all, of course, but USC, Texas, Oregon, and Ohio State. You don't lose any more than 2 of those, you're in the college football playoff. But there's a lot of losable games here, right? So take a look at the schedule. Arkansas State, Michigan's a 3-touchdown favorite. But look at the ESPN FPI, right, which is kind of crap, but it gives you a little bit of understanding of what at least some computers are thinking about. They're not only giving Michigan a 44.4% chance. That was like 79% just a month ago or so before the season started. So Michigan, less than 50% chance. They'll probably be an underdog against USC a week from Saturday, September 21st. Minnesota, last of this 5-game home stretch, 77% chance, right? Minnesota lost their first game. They haven't looked that great. You go on into the month of October, right? Going on the road to Washington, right? This is a Washington that's losing more starters than Michigan. Michigan only has a 45% chance of winning that one, 45.1, right? Illinois, they beat Kansas, the ranked Kansas team. So this one's dropped from like 90% down to 68.4%. Michigan State, still 82% chance. Oregon, though, 55.1% chance of victory. That's not because Michigan's looking good. That's how bad Oregon's looked at, right? They almost have 2 losses. Went down to the wire with Boise State. Went down to the wire with Idaho the week before that. Indiana, Michigan's only giving a 52.7% chance to win at Indiana. 86% versus Northwestern. And then how about this? Only 13.6% chance of victory. The spread on the Ohio State game in the early lines is like 17.5. So far, that team has outscored their opponents, Ohio State, 108 to 6 or 3 through their first 2 games. So there's at least 6 losable games on that schedule. I mean, just kind of looking at them. Obviously, USC is, Washington is now, Illinois is for sure, Oregon is, Ohio State, and then what? Maybe Michigan State possibly. How? Maybe even Minnesota. It's tough to say. Indiana only 52% chance, 52.7 of winning that game. This team better turn around real quick, and Sherrone Moore better show us what kind of coach he is. He doesn't even have a contract. We found out last week. He hasn't signed a contract yet. Under NCAA investigation, it could be a shorter shelf life of a coaching career at Michigan than anyone would have expected if we don't get things turned around ASAP. Not calling for his job, but this is a program that is now expected to win at the highest levels in college football, showing that they can do it in the transfer portal era, and now is the time to prove that you were the right man for the coaching job. Let me know what your regular season record is. I want to get the vibe from you guys. The 12 games in the schedule. Let me know, as Michigan's 1-1 through 2 games, what you think that 12-game regular season record will end up being based on what you know now and what you predict in the future. Recapping today's show, Michigan's got some real problems. Their inability to run the ball is baffling at this point. These are overreactions from you, from the media. Is Wink Martindale Don Brown 2.0 quarterback play? Whew. I mean, and looking ahead, this schedule is a lot tougher for reasons unexpected, right? It's not just the teams that we know. It's what Michigan's done so far, what the computers think, and what they've got coming up. This is a team that if they don't step it up, could end up being a 6-6 team coming off a 15-0 regular season and 15-0 regular season last year season and 40-3 over the last 3 years. We'll be back on Tuesday. Make sure you use hashtag Michigan in the comments to get your question featured on our mailbag show this week. Till I see you guys next time, keep your head up. Go Blue.